Throughout Marvel's vast universe, few battles could be as complex and catastrophic as a clash between the Ancient One and Jean Grey. These two powerful beings wield forces that transcend normal comprehension: mystic arts versus cosmic power, knowledge versus raw potential, strategy versus instinct. On one side, we have the Ancient One, a being who has mastered the mystical forces of the multiverse, guiding and defending Earth's reality for centuries. On the other, we have Jean Grey, a mutant whose connection to the Phoenix Force gives her nearly godlike power, capable of consuming entire galaxies. If these two ever faced off in a battle of magic and mind, who would emerge victorious? The answer is far from simple. Both have their strengths, weaknesses, and battle strategies that could turn the tide in their favor. To determine a winner, we must analyze their origins, abilities, combat techniques, and ultimate power levels. Only then can we uncover the truth behind this epic showdown. Origins and power sources. The Ancient One has lived for centuries, learning, refining, and perfecting her abilities in the mystical arts. As the Sorcerer Supreme, she was the Earth's first line of defense against threats from beyond time and space. Her magic comes from various sources: the Vishanti, the Dark Dimension, interdimensional entities, and the power of the mind itself. She has trained legendary sorcerers like Doctor Strange and has stood against cosmic threats that could unravel reality. Her connection to the Time Stone in the MCU gave her an even greater understanding of how to manipulate the flow of events. Her knowledge of multiversal energy makes her one of the most formidable beings in Marvel history. She can cast spells that manipulate time, space, energy, and matter, all while maintaining control over her own existence within different dimensions. Her ability to access the mirror dimension allows her to fight in an alternate reality, where she can trap her enemies and render their abilities useless. She can also use astral projection, teleportation, and advanced illusion techniques to deceive and overpower her opponents. But despite her immense power, she is still bound by certain mystical laws, meaning she cannot create or destroy reality at will. Jean Grey, on the other hand, is one of the most powerful Omega-level mutants in existence. Her power was already immense as a telepath and telekinetic, but once she merged with the Phoenix Force, she became something far beyond human comprehension. The Phoenix Force is a cosmic entity that represents life, death, and rebirth, giving Jean access to limitless energy and reality-warping abilities. She has demonstrated feats such as resurrecting herself, destroying planets, wiping out entire civilizations, and bending spacetime with her will alone. Jean's power grows exponentially depending on her emotional state. While in full control, she is a compassionate and strategic fighter. However, when she loses control and becomes the Dark Phoenix, she turns into an unstoppable force, destroying everything in her path. Her telepathic abilities surpass even Charles Xavier's, allowing her to read, manipulate, and even erase minds from existence. Her telekinesis is powerful enough to move planets, break through dimensions, and crush enemies with sheer force. However, her biggest weakness is her emotional instability. If she lets her emotions take over, she becomes unpredictable and self-destructive. At their core, both the Ancient One and Jean Grey draw their power from sources beyond normal human limits, one from the mystical forces of the universe and the other from a cosmic entity that defies the laws of reality. But who has the upper hand when it comes to sheer combat strategy and execution? Combat techniques and battle strategies. The Ancient One is not just a powerful sorcerer, she is also a master strategist. Unlike Jean, who relies on instinct and emotion, the Ancient One is a calculated, disciplined fighter who uses precision and manipulation to win battles. She would likely start the fight by transporting Jean into the mirror dimension, where Jean's influence over the real world would be neutralized. In this realm, the Ancient One could reshape the environment, forcing Jean to fight in a battlefield where magic reigns supreme. Additionally, the Ancient One's time manipulation abilities could allow her to foresee Jean's attacks and counter them before they happen. She could also use astral projection to separate Jean's consciousness from her body, leaving her physically vulnerable. However, Jean's telepathic abilities make this incredibly risky. She could potentially invade the Ancient One's mind, discovering her secrets and turning her magic against her. Jean Grey, on the other hand, fights with pure overwhelming power. Unlike the Ancient One, who relies on magic, Jean can attack on multiple levels at once, physically, mentally, and cosmically. If she senses the Ancient One's presence in her mind, she could force her out or shut down her mental defenses entirely. She could also use her telekinesis to disrupt the Ancient One's spellcasting, preventing her from executing complex magical attacks. In terms of raw destructive capability, Jean far surpasses the Ancient One. While the Ancient One can manipulate dimensions, Jean can tear through them. If Jean reaches Dark Phoenix mode, she becomes practically unstoppable, burning through any magical barriers with cosmic fire. Even in the mirror dimension, she could destroy the entire plane itself, rendering the Ancient One's strongest defense useless. This makes the battle a contest of strategy versus brute cosmic force. If the Ancient One can outmaneuver Jean and trap her before she reaches her peak power, she stands a strong chance of winning. But if Jean fights at full strength from the beginning, very few beings in the Marvel Universe could stop her, including the Sorcerer Supreme. Final verdict: who wins? The outcome of this battle depends entirely on Jean Grey's state during the fight. If she is only using her mutant telepathic and telekinetic abilities, then the Ancient One wins 8 out of 10 times. Her knowledge of magic, superior strategy, and mastery of dimensions give her too many advantages in a controlled fight. She could trap Jean in a mystical prison, use illusions to disorient her, and eventually disable her powers long enough to claim victory. However, if Jean unleashes the Phoenix Force in its full form, then the Ancient One has little chance of survival. The Phoenix is not bound by magical laws or dimensional barriers. Jean could rewrite reality, erase spells before they are cast, and overpower even the strongest mystical defenses. In this scenario, Jean Grey wins 9 out of 10 times, simply because her cosmic power exceeds the limits of magic itself. The only way the Ancient One could defeat a full-powered Jean Grey is by removing her from existence before she reaches full power, trapping her in an infinite time loop, sealing her consciousness away, or preventing the Phoenix from awakening. But in a straight-up battle of power versus power, Jean Grey reigns supreme. So, the final answer is clear: Jean Grey wins, but only if she has full control of the Phoenix. If she doesn't, the Ancient One's tactical intelligence and magical versatility could secure a victory. It's a battle of raw cosmic energy versus mystical strategy, and while both are powerful beyond measure, Jean Grey's connection to the Phoenix ultimately makes her the stronger opponent. Check out my other videos for more epic character crossovers and battles. Thanks for watching, and stay happy and healthy.